You are the worst sound guy I've ever had in my entire career, honestly. Oh, hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your mother's favorite time. It's wasting 10 minutes with Big Sween. Today, we got a very, very special guest joining us. He is one of the main voices of BKFC. He's the BKFC ring announcer. He's Mr. Live Worldwide. He's Mr. Hello 3 times. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Jeff motherfucking Houston.
Whole fucking show right here, baby. Hell yeah. What's up? What's up, Big Sween?
Glad to have you on, brother. Glad to have you on. So, BKFC 32, last week in Orlando, Florida. Crazy ass event, wild night, great fights. What's some of your thoughts on it coming off the week?
What are my thoughts when it comes to anything bare knuckle fighting championship? Well, let me just tell you, it's nothing but Doritos and cupcakes, which is definitely a good thing. BKFC 32, another wild night that we provided. Man, I had to tell you what, that was one for the books. And I think, like most bare knuckle fighting events, we have something for everyone. I mean, it's such a versatile night. You know, we had knockouts, we had close decisions, we had a brawl, we had an in-ring brawl that went viral all over the place. And we had a main event that once again solidified our bantamweight king as of right now, but he's sharing the throne as of right now. You know, I mean, the throne is a double wide as of right now because he's sharing the throne right alongside Brutal Johnny Bedford. So eventually a third fight is imminent. It's going to happen at one point or another.
It's going to have to happen, but Reggie proves time and time again he's just on a whole nother level.
Well, when you have stepped into the squared circle for the 10th time, which was a record, he's been there since day one. He is one of the original gangsters inside the squared circle. He was there on day one when most of us had no idea what to expect. Everybody, for once, was in the same boat, with the exception of our founder, David Feldman, because, you know, he had kind of dabbled in bare knuckle prior to BKFC 1. So he had definitely more a handle on things. The rest of us were just saying, what the hell is going to happen? And I think that night was just as impactful for me personally as the first UFC back in 1993.
I believe we're on an anniversary right now. What, 30-year anniversary of UFC 1?
Hard to believe.
It's yeah, it really is. But all right, we'll go ahead and get this thing started. We'll go over the rules real quick. It's gonna be rapid fire random questions coming at you from all kinds of different angles. And of course, if you spend a little too long on an answer, you're gonna hear the angry monkey sounds. All right.
Well, obviously, your sound guy, I didn't hear nothing. I heard silent monkey sounds, but not angry.
Well, we're gonna have to get that taken care of. But shout out to Ron, the sound guy, our intern from the University of Florida, holding it down on the 1s and 2s. How's it going, Ron? All right, Jeff, you ready to get things started?
I'm waiting on you, Big Sween, man. I've been ready since day one.
All right, man. Now, anybody that truly knows Jeff Houston knows that you have a full arsenal of impersonations under your belt. From Ric Flair to Mrs. Doubtfire, all the way to Chris Tucker. Ooh. My question to you is, who do you impersonate the best?
My Ric Flair one is definitely up there, but as far as my best impression goes, I'd probably have to say it'd be James Earl Jones. You know, James Earl Jones is a big one for me because I've actually done some voiceover work for the man himself on, I guess you would call them off-Broadway pieces. If you had an off-Broadway on a recording sense, I did some things for an off kind of Conan the Barbarian, an off Coming to America. And I kind of stepped in for him, I guess you could say, kind of like as an understudy almost so. And he actually gave me praise on everything that I said. And when you get praise from someone like that, when you get praise from Darth motherfucking Vader, that's pretty impressive. I may not be as good as I used to be because that was quite some time ago, but I think my chops are still there. Yeah.
I mean, could you bless us with an impersonation?
I mean, bless you. Yes, yes, I could certainly bless you with an impersonation.
See what you got.
Where's the eye of the serpent? Rexall says you gave it to a girl, probably for a mere night's pleasure. What a loss. People have no grasp for what they do. You broke into my house, stole my property, murdered my servants and my pets, and that is what grieves me the most. You killed my snake. Falgrim is beside himself with grief. He raised that snake from the time that it was born.
Man, a man of many talents, that's for damn sure. And you got Ron, the sound guy, our intern from the University of Florida. He's cheesing ear to ear. He's loving every bit of it. He's a big fan.
Cool,
Big
cool.
fan. All right. Well, obviously, you have a talent with your voice. But at what point in your life did you know you wanted to be a ring announcer?
The hell if I know. I don't know if it was a question of whether or not I wanted to do it. It's more along the lines that I appreciated certain people who did it. And it's not necessarily that I thought that I could do it. I mean, it was always kind of in the back of my head, but the greatest ring announcer in the history of the game has always been, first and foremost, the late, great Howard Finkel from WWF.
Absolutely.
A lot of people would say the obvious answer and go the route of the Buffers, but the Buffers are imitated and emulated every single day by so many wannabe, I guess you could say, announcers. And there's always some kind of emulation from them, from somebody else. Nobody could emulate Howard Finkel. He just had that inimitable voice. When he stepped up to the mic, you knew it was him. As far as cosmetics, I mean, come on, the guy looked like an out of work high school chemistry teacher wearing a tuxedo. He was nothing to look at. But when you would listen to those introductions, man, goosebumps upon goosebumps. In fact, Goosebumps were actually building condos. That's how crazy it got with that. So I had always appreciated it. And, you know, I gave it a shot one day on the independent pro wrestling scene. That's where I got started. And I said to myself, I think I can do this. I had the voice, but I had no theory, no practice. I was as green could be when I first started. But there's one thing that I can tell you, Big Sween, from moment one to moment now, never once have I stepped onto that microphone and had butterflies in my stomach. Never been nervous, never been. It's just not something that it's not an emotion that I have when it comes to what I do for a living. I've just never been nervous a day in my life.
Wow. Wow, that's
Never
honestly
once.
a little shocking, because I mean, but I guess that you got to have cold blood when it comes to that. And those big moments.
I'm a born performer. Always have been and always will be. I just didn't really notice it until I was about 25, which is when I started. And just this April, I will be celebrating 20 years on the mic.
Oh wow! Congratulations.
Thank you.
Already an illustrious career, and it feels like it's just beginning now.
Oh, I got a long way to go. I mean, why retire when you're one of the best in the world at what you do? I mean, you know, unless physically you can't do it anymore, or you just lose the joy, you know, the joy is gone from what you do. But what the fighters do for us, I don't see the joy going anywhere else, because the fighters do so much for them. So in my meager, you know, way, I can give something back to the fighters that they've 100% earned. And that's $1 million introduction for putting their asses on the line.
Yeah. Amen. Amen. All right. Now, all the Sweeney acts worldwide, they know you're Mr. Hello 3 times. Now, was there even a possibility of you being Mr. Hey 3 times, or another greeting along that? Or was it always hello, hello, hello?
It was always hello. It was always hello. I mean, you know, I do hey 3 times and I'm Fat Albert, you know, so I can't exactly do that. You know, that's somebody else's. That belongs to somebody else. But hello 3 times didn't belong to anybody else. And the big thing for me is that I wanted a catchphrase that set myself apart from the rest, because all ring announcers love using their trademark or quote unquote trademark. You'd be amazed how many people say that they have trademark catchphrases and they don't. I've definitely done checks on a bunch of them, but I wanted my catchphrase to start the show and not finish it, because the main event, there's so much hype around the main event, and you can pretty much say anything and get yourself over with the audience as long as it's said well. The way that I look at it is the unsung heroes who are starting off the broadcast, they're the ones that have earned, a catchphrase. And that's why I kind of give it to them. And it's a great way to start the show. It's a great way to start the show. A lot of people, agree with that. The fighters love it. The fans love it, and it's one of those things to where, you beta test it, you try it out. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But it's worked out each and every time. And that's when I knew I had something very special. So I actually did trademark. Right now, it's a national trademark. It's in the process of being approved for a global trademark. That takes obviously a little bit more time. But in my mind, it was always hello 3 times.
Wow. And now hello 3 times is being trademarked by Jeff Houston. That is you forever.
Well, I mean, forever, as long as I'm drawing a breath. I mean, here with Big Sween, who knows how long that's going to take.
Well, we're only wasting 10 minutes, so we better keep it moving.
Yeah, we have to.
All right. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You've announced all over the world, from Russia to Abu Dhabi. Outside of BKFC, what was the most anticipated event you were a part of?
Wow, that's a loaded question, because there's a lot of countries, there's a lot of international opportunities that I've had over 20 years. But I think probably for me, the most unexpected one was when Road FC out of South Korea contacted me out of nowhere one day. This was back in October of 2015. I'm just sitting on my couch enjoying my day. I think it was a Monday. I think it was a Monday that I got a call. Then all of a sudden I see a call on my cell phone, and it's a South Korean number. And I'm thinking to myself, what kind of scam is this? So I said, screw it. I'll answer the phone and see what's going on. I answered the phone, and it was a English-speaking representative with Road FC. They said that they've seen my work all over social media, and the CEO at the time, Mr. Jung, he wanted to bring me in for a show that week. This was Monday. Wow. This was Monday. They said, we'd like to fly you to Seoul on Wednesday. Can we do this? And, that's obviously extremely last minute, but I asked them to give me a second so that I could do a little a little research on them to make sure that this was legit and everything. And I'd heard of Road FC a little bit, but I didn't really know exactly what they were completely about. And I looked them up while I was on the phone, and sure enough, everything that I asked, he confirmed. So it was legitimate. So I said, sure, that sounds like fun. So I get flown all the way out from San Antonio, Texas to Seoul, South Korea for the first time in my life. It had been a little while since I had done an international gig at that point. So I was just, wow, I didn't know what to expect. And it was a glove fit from moment one. I harmonized so well with the Korean broadcasting talent. There's so many people that I've worked with that it was just so easy to mesh with. And I love shows like that, to where I come in, and as the foreigner, I don't trip anything up. Usually a lot of times when a foreigner comes in, sometimes it can be the foreigner that actually interrupts the overall flow of the show because you don't know it. But I've been doing it so long, the way that the show went, it was very, very familiar to me. It was very, very familiar to me. And I had worked with foreign speaking announcers. In this case, it was a Korean speaking announcer. And it was kismet. It was kismet from moment one. I'm very sad that I'm not with Road FC as of right now, because unfortunately, because of everything that's been happening with COVID, they have, they're moving when it comes to their live events. They're moving at a snail's pace to get things back, much, much slower than we are. So it's still going to probably be some time before I go back to South Korea. It's been 3 years already, and I miss them like crazy.
So when they do get back going, are you the main guy?
Well, I'm the main guy as long as it doesn't interfere with Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, because everybody knows that is my first love, and it always will be. Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, they get priority, as they should, because It's I don't play around when I say this. It is the most exciting and fastest growing combat sport on planet Earth today. That's not a term of endearment. That's the truth.
Oh, yeah. I mean, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Now, last one from me, Jeff.
All right.
Now, my research department's brought to light the fact that you've shared the ring with the likes of Daniel Cormier and Cain Velasquez.
Mm-hmm.
How does that make you feel in hindsight, looking back on it?
Well, I mean, I've shared the cage to the point to where I was on the microphone with them for brief interviews and such. And Daniel Cormier and both of them, I was very fortunate. This was at the time of where they were in their prime. You know, Daniel Cormier was on top of the world in the light heavyweight division. Cain Velasquez was the current UFC heavyweight champion at the time. And I got to, you know, have some really good interviews. Daniel Cormier, number one, is such a fantastic interview. He really is. I mean, I can understand why he's on the broadcast team with the UFC. He's very sharp. He's very quick-witted. He's funny as hell. He really it's a glove fit for him over there. And Cain Velasquez, you know, man, I got to tell you something. I got to give a shout out to Cain. I'm so happy that bail was finally approved for him. In fact, I think it's ridiculous that it wasn't in the first place. I have seen more atrocious crimes committed and people getting bail a hell of a lot easier than this. Absolutely. I mean, I understand why, but did he really have to be kept in for 8 months to let this die down and then be granted bail? Come on. Any other father, any other parent, or any other family member probably would have reacted in a similar fashion. Exactly. I mean, once again, I understand taking the law in your own hands is never a good thing. But when something like that happens to a beloved family member, I mean, you know, you don't always think clearly. You just think, what do I have to do to get rid of this SOB? Yeah. I get it. I get it. And I'm happy that he's out. Trial is going to be starting pretty soon and everything. And I just think it's going to be an open and shut case. I mean, there's no reason for them to do that, because there's any parent, any, like I said, family member that would have done the same thing.
It's still 8 months of his life he won't get back.
I know. And we feel for him. We really do.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into a little bit of viewer mail and wrap this up. We've got a couple of viewer mail submissions. All right, our first viewer mail. All right, this one comes from Benny Timms. Benny Timms has a good one. He says, what's the worst thing that ever happened to you during an event while you were announcing?
Probably the worst thing that happened to me when I was doing a boxing event in Mexico. And I was in, where was I? I was right on the border of El Paso. And I was doing a boxing event there. And I remember I don't remember the kid who was there, but the local kid, this was, this had to have been back in 2014, I think, probably about 2014 when this happened. He lost by intentional headbutt, which we, you know, unfortunately saw just not too long ago. And after I made the announcement, there was a full-scale riot. There was a full-scale riot. Everybody rushed me like I had done it myself. I was just the messenger. But once again, I tell people I have so many emotional bullet hole wounds by being the messenger. And I literally was being lifted up and being ready to hoist out. I thought they were going to like dismember me or something like that, or cut me to pieces. And then all of a sudden I feel this pull on the back of my suit jacket, and it's the referees. They're grabbing me and they get me the hell out of there. So I think probably that was almost looking death right in the eye right after I gave a decision. So that was pretty damn scary. It was Juarez. It was Juarez is where it was. Now that I'm remembering, it was in a boxing event in Juarez. Mm-hmm.
Wow, man, you got some stories, man. Oh my goodness, you got some stories. All right, last viewer mail we got. I'm going to wrap this up. Viewer mail we got. This one's from Eric Thompson, Big Eric Thompson. He says,
I know Eric.
Yep. Craziest fight you've ever seen in BKFC? Straightforward question.
Craziest fight. Well, I mean, that's a little vague because crazy can have so many different faces in bare knuckle fighting championship. As far as the craziest fight, I'm going to be honest with you. Probably the last one, probably the last one that we saw was Shady Grady. I'd have to say, I mean, if we're looking at crazy terms and such a unusual way to end the fight, because you have to figure we haven't seen a situation in BKFC as of yet to where we've seen two intentional headbutts happen within a fight. We've seen accidental, we've seen a situation to where it was a no contest, but I just think that he was super overzealous. I think he was trying to sell the crazy character, and selling the crazy character outside the ring is just fine. But the problem with that, doing that inside the ring, you do lose a big part of credibility, unfortunately, because really what we're looking at right there is your fighting ability. I mean, you want to sell crazy outside of the ring. Hey, most fighters do that. Most fighters have no problem selling crazy outside, but playing around too much inside the ring, I think, is kind of like a middle finger to the fight fans who paid to come see you, because bottom line is that they paid to come to see you fight.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I agree, but this can be capitalized on.
No, and it is. And the thing about it, no, there is no such thing as bad press, Big Sween. There's no such thing as bad press. So this can be capitalized on, but it also, people say that it leaves a black eye. Black eyes don't last that long. That's the way that I see it. Go ahead and use that term, leaves a black eye in the sport. Well, if you look at most of our fighters, look at them 2 weeks later after the fight. Black eyes don't last long. It's not something that people are going to be dwelling on for very long. If you think that this is going to leave like a stain on the sport, think again. It absolutely isn't. And come on, David Feldman went viral with his guerrilla tactics in there, taking him down. I thought that was great. I thought that was great. I mean, the boss taking action. I have zero problems with that. You saw Brian Socha even getting in there, trying to break that up. We have to do what we have to do in order to make sure that we have as safe an environment as we can have with bare knuckle. I know that that's kind of weird, safe environment with bare knuckle fighting. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is making sure that both fighters walk out of the squared circle on their own volition, on their own 2 feet.
Yeah, completely agree with you. I remember sitting there, and I think we locked eyes after the second headbutt. And you look back at me, and when Rebro threw up those 2 middle fingers, I already knew something bad was going to happen. I was already running into that ring.
But the funny thing about it is, Robert, the funny thing about it is that this could happen. This is not just something that's isolated to bare knuckle fighting or BKFC. This situation in any combat sport could have happened. Could have been boxing, could have been MMA, could have been kickboxing. Similar situation to where you got something like that. It could have happened, and you could have had a full-on brawl anywhere. So it's not just isolated with bare knuckle fighting championship. And we have so many people that think that only these kind of things happen with bare knuckle. These instances, they only happen with bare knuckle. I'm like, obviously you have not been watching combat sports if that's what you think. It can happen anywhere. I mean, these are real emotions that these fighters are dealing with. These are real in-your-face emotions. And unless you're in there and you know what it feels like, you're not going to understand it. So you're always going to be outside looking in. So before you criticize, before you defame someone's character, maybe step in the squared circle, step in the ring, step in the cage, feel how see how those feelings are taking you for a ride. And then you can probably criticize.
Yeah. Wow. Well said. Well said. But as always, there's always a path for redemption, and I'm a true believer that Grady comes back to BKFC.
The door is not closed. The door is not closed.
I know the door is not closed, but when he gets another fight and that's announced, everybody's gonna be talking.
Oh yeah, I believe we're gonna see. I believe when the bell rings, the serious Shady Grady is gonna stand up. I believe the serious Shady Grady is going to stand up on that because in life, the way that I look at it, there are no losses, there are lessons.
100%. And we have a plan as well. We're flying him down to Florida. We're getting him with a military boxing trainer for 6 weeks.
Cool.
And it's gonna humble him, train him, and you're going to see a new Jack Grady the next time he comes out.
Well, just know where the madman belongs when it comes to showmanship.
100%.
Showmanship does not belong in the ring unless it's necessary. I mean, if you want to be, there was a reason Muhammad Ali was a showman, is because that he was statistically better than almost everybody that he stepped into the ring with the exception of a select few. So therefore, it was easy for him to showboat and do what he did. But when you do things like that are 100% blatant and intentional, it doesn't look good on you as far as your skill set as a professional fighter.
Agreed.
So I'm crossing my fingers for him, Big Sween. I want to see Shady Grady back in action, but this time I want to see him get in there and get those knuckles dirty.
Absolutely. All right, Jeff. Now, before I let you go real quick, I want to touch a note on the fact that Ron, the sound guy, my intern from the University of Florida, he's been cooking up a mean Jeff Houston hello 3-time impersonation. Can we have a hello off right here on Wasting 10 Minutes with Big Sween between Ron, the sound guy, our intern from the University of Florida, and the OG of hellos, Jeff Houston, right here, right now?
A hello sound off? No. A pathetic attempt? Absolutely.
He's confident in his ability, so bear with him as he
fire away. Fire away.
Hello, hello. Wow. That sounded like I have 2 Jeff Houstons in this room right now.
Excuse me. Excuse me for 1 second. Hello.
Yes. Hit it so hard, the mic went out, everything went out. That was amazing. Thank you for everything.
Don't even.
I appreciate the time. Thank you. We'll see you soon, brother.
Appreciate you, Big Sween.